99.5 The X. It just rocks.
Blando hanging out backstage in the trailer with one of the Nameless Ghouls of Ghost. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. First, congratulations on everything. I mean, you guys have had a just monumental 12, 16 months, a Grammy, a huge album. I mean, it's a monstrous tour. I mean, it just seems like it keeps getting bigger and bigger for you guys.
Yeah. No, thank you. It is fantastic, and we haven't really seen the grand finale yet.
So more to come.
There's definitely more to come within this so-called album cycle. So we have still the fall coming up, and then we're going to end it in the beginning of next year.
Very cool.
But there's definitely going to be a big stepping up in the fall. So anybody who's seen us up until now, you will have to see us again this fall, because there would be new songs, different songs, a bigger show, a different show, and so on.
Very cool. Now, you mentioned the big show, obviously something Ghost is well known for, the massive scale of the show you guys do. How, over the years, has that affected with touring, between doing your own tours, doing the festivals? Is there a big change in the way you do things, or, do you find yourself minimizing sometimes, or is it, everything you can do every day?
Unless you are headlining a bigger stage, there's no way. I mean, unless you're playing with the ukulele only, there's no way that you're gonna present yourself accordingly on a festival stage, especially here in America, where everything ends so early.
Right.
And that's the sad thing about I'm saying America collectively, which is a little bit unfair, but with these festivals that has starting to clutter up the spring and the fall, mm-hmm. because especially considering that you end the festivals so early, whereas in Europe they end. I know this summer we're playing a lot of festivals. We're headlining stages, and even the stages that we're not headlining, we're playing at 10 or 11 a night.
Right.
And so you have a lot of bands playing in the dark, so you get a lot of value for the money.
Right.
In terms of show, whereas here it's only the last band that plays in darkness. So it's bad for everyone, and not to talk about all the money and all the restrictions it caused with it, and it's sad because touring America in the spring and the fall is always so great, but these festivals really screw up for all the bands that are not headlining.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately. That does not mean that we don't appreciate playing at the festivals, but it's sad that you're taking the same route as in Europe, because most American bands must have come home and told everyone that, it's fun playing at a European festival,
yeah,
but it really screws things up too, because you can only play every country once.
Right.
And not all of these festivals are arranged in a route,
like a schedule. Yeah.
No. It's so you have to start flying between the shows, and you have to have two back lines, and there are many bands that have to call it quits, basically, because they can't afford touring.
Just can't keep up with it.
No, because it's so crazy, and it's definitely a double-edged sword. We decided long ago that we are going to become big, no matter what.
Absolutely.
we have to do that, and right now we've swam out way too far to sort of turn back. So we're just we're getting there, but you have to be extremely determined to work against these forces.
Right.
But every festival that we're doing, we're sort of one step closer to the dusk or the dark.
Yeah. So you're on the wave. You got to ride it until it runs out.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it sounds like there's kind of good and bad to both sides of the festivals, because I've never, being American born, lived here my whole life, I've never been to a European festival, but it's interesting to hear the dynamic of, over here the scheduling's worked out a little better. Over there it's a little bit more, day by day, a little bigger time slot, a little more to work with. So that's kind of interesting. There's good and bad on both sides of the ocean, I guess. with the big festivals.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, the biggest problem here, from especially from a production standpoint, where we are not necessarily. I mean, I guess this is a definition question, but we are not necessarily as new as we were a couple of years ago.
Right.
So by now, 5 years into touring America every year, we definitely do have a fan base, and we're not encouraging people not to come to festivals.
Right.
But people will have to understand that if you see us play at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, playing a 30-minute set in daylight, it will not be the show that you might have been waiting for 5 years.
Right. And
so it's irritating when you have a brand, for lack of a better or a nicer word.
Gotcha.
But you have a reputation, and you are known for doing X, and you're forced to represent Y.
Right.
Because. And the unfortunate nature of how these American festivals are currently is that most bands have to basically alter to the point where it's almost
trimmed down to the basics.
Yeah, completely. Which is a little bit sad. I wish that some of these festivals either would not exist, or would place themselves in a environment or setting where they can basically go on half night, so that the last band goes on at 1 in the morning.
Yeah, stretch it on out to a full day and night type.
Exactly, and half of the stages should be tents. Also European thing.
Totally.
You will get a lot happier fans coming to that festival because they will see their bands in a somewhat proper setting.
Interesting. Now, on the positive side of the festivals here, have you guys seen, has it helped at all? Because I know you guys very established in Europe before you made your way over and started gaining ground in the U.S. Have being able to be on these festivals exposed you to a bigger audience, kind of kickstarted things out of the gate? Opening more eyes to who Ghost is, and maybe bringing more attention to you guys when you do your own full tour and they can see the full show.
I will have to correct you a little because but a few people know this because obviously we've grown substantially over the years, so it's hard to see if now in hindsight. But we actually got big in America before we got bigger in Europe.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because we started off in Europe. We did a summer we did a few tours, and we did a summer of festivals in Europe. But it wasn't until we got to America where it really started to blow up. Even though it was on a smaller scale,
right.
But it was definitely in America where we started headlining our own tours. Up until the last album, I think we were doing quite fine. But definitely, when we made the new album, and all of a sudden we started getting airplay,
right?
Which we had a little before, but not to the same scale that we have nowadays. There's a big difference, obviously. Yeah, there's most Americans drive around in their car listening to music,
right? So
if you're not on the radio, you are definitely under the radar in a way.
Yeah.
If you're a new band.
Right.
Since we got on the radio, it definitely changed a lot. Since we are on the radio, we are happily, accepting invites to play festivals because obviously from our standpoint, being a band that's growing, and going, as I'm saying, on the positive side, we are closing in on the dusk and the darkness.
Yeah.
So had we not been played on the radio, we wouldn't play these festivals.
Right.
So it's, definitely it
kind of
helps.
a progression.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Well, obviously you guys have a lot going on right now. The new album is huge. Running through the big festivals. What do you guys have planned after festival season starts to wind down? Are you going to be heading out on the road on your own tour? Are you heading back home to do some European dates? What's going on after like spring, early summer starts rolling in?
Right. We are finishing this American tour on Rockin' Derby, which is May 22nd. And then we're starting our European tour on May 27th. So that'll be entire, end of May, entire June, ending up on July 2nd. Then we have a short break. Then we're going to come back to America, actually, for we're playing Lollapalooza.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of a few shows around that area.
Right.
And then we have a big tour coming up in America in this fall.
And that's the tour you mentioned earlier about big things, big changes, new songs, and if you've seen Ghost before, you're going to need to see them again.
Exactly. No, that's going to be a completely different production, and we have a new. Let's just say we have a new release coming out in the beginning of the fall that will sort of, accompany the tour.
Exciting.
So, and then we're taking that back to Europe again in the beginning of next year, and then we're done.
Very cool. So, sounds like definitely a full schedule, full calendar coming for you guys. Big stuff here, big stuff overseas. I mean, it just seems like things keep getting bigger for Ghost, and from what you're saying, there's just more to come.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. So then there's a new album, 2017.
Even more exciting.
Yes.
Now, with the big production, and a new album on the way, with the writing of the album, does the production play into the sound, or do you build the production off of the sound once the album starts to come together?
I think there is definitely a synergy there, where I like to say that any band that experienced some sort of growth in the sense of playing in front of a bigger audience, it's very natural that it will affect your sound.
Right.
Usually, especially when you're a somewhat noisier and faster band that grows into a bigger scale.
Right.
What usually happens is you start playing a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Usually because fast music doesn't sound very well when it's played in a bigger room.
Right. Right.
So you tend to go for, bigger strokes.
Gotcha.
In a way. But it's kind of, I like to put it next to it's kind of like having a sexual partner. Your crowd is your sexual partner that unless you're a sadist, you stick one finger in there and you like that. One more, 2, 3 is not fine. Then you go for the 2.
So you just gotta play it by ear and
exactly.
go with what works.
So the relationship with our crowd definitely plays somewhat of a role when it comes to writing new music. Not saying that we're writing exactly what they want to hear,
right?
But you definitely write songs that will fit into the show that that your crowd usually might like.
So in a way, you and your audience kind of evolve together.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's very cool. Well, Mr. Ghoul, we appreciate your time, and like I said, congratulations on everything thus far, and best of luck with all the big stuff coming in the future. Get out there and have some sex with that crowd.
We will. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.